purpose of this video is going to be to introduce you to the border layout in JavaFX. It's a very standard sort of layout for building applications. It makes rooms for menus, status bars, and other things you might want or need. So let's go ahead and get started. First, I've begun here by just making a very basic JavaFX file with just the setup of my scene, and nothing has really happened yet, save for the fact that I went ahead and imported BorderPane and made a new BorderPane, but that's all I've done. And so just to show you what's happening here, I'm going to go ahead and compile this production. Okay, and now I'm going to run it. And what you will see is not a heck of a lot. Blank window, border. There is a border pane in here, but since there are no visible elements in it, you can't see anything. The only reason the window is the size that it is that I set the size. So there we are. So a border pane has several parts to it, and we'll go through setting all of those up in great detail. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the top. Okay, so to make that happen, what I'm going to go ahead and do is something like this. Let's make some room here to do some work. I'm going to make a label. I'll call it top label. Not very imaginative, but illustrative. And it's going to say new label top. Okay, then I'm going to make HBox. Uh-oh, I better do some importing here. I have a border pane, I have an HBox now. And I also have what? Oh, I have a label. That's a control. So we'll go ahead and do the appropriate import there. All right. Then what is next? Okay, I'm going to, I need to make an HBox, top of box. So this is going to go in the top of my border pane. Is equal to new HBox. So far, nothing visible yet because we haven't put anything anywhere. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to set alignment of position POS.center. And POS.center is just a static constant. It lives in this library, or this library here. It's JavaFX.geometry. And there's no intermediate item there. And then the last thing is POS. I like that name. Okay, so that's just going to center things. Okay, now what I'm going to do is in my top box, I'm going to get its children, and I'm going to add my label. Okay, so we have our HBox that's on top, and then we're going to do this curious little thing so we can actually visualize things. I'm going to say top box dot set style, and then I'm going to say hyphen FX. Now most of these FX CSS commands just have an FX prepended on a regular CSS command. So this is FX background color. And I'm just going to say red. Keep it simple. All right. And then the last thing we do, we've created the label, created the HBox. We put the label into the HBox. we've set the background color to the H box, but the last thing we need to do is we need to say bp.setTop of, and now top box. Okay, so let's go ahead and compile what we have. You can stop the video here if you're working along with me and get caught up. And now I'm going to go ahead and compile. Hopefully we don't have any semicolon errors. Whoops. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? And this is a very easy thing to do. Oh, come on. Where is get children? Oh, there it is. Why didn't my editor find it? Oh, I forgot to do this. Be a good idea if I added my top label. Okay, let's try that again. And now let's run it. Ooh. What do you see now? You now see top and good old POS.center centered that label in the middle. The style command colored the background red, and you can see the top occupies the top few percent of your content pane. Now, let's go to work on some more goodies here. All right. Now we're going to do the bottom. Okay. So this is going to be a very similar process to the top. Let me go ahead and click that away. Reopen my editor. And so I'm just going to put a comment here that says install the top. So we remember what we're doing. Okay. Now we're going to install the bottom. Okay, so what are we going to do? Bottom, and let me use caps like they were doing. Okay, so I went ahead and did that. I'm going to use an H box again because this runs along the bottom. It runs from left to right. It's a horizontal, really, you know, spans the whole width of the page. So this should be horizontal. Okay, so we have H box, bottom box. This new H box. And I'm going to say POS.center. Okay. And I'm going to say, oh, this is bottom box, please. Get children. And that's that kind of funny looking call there. Add of. We're going to add the bottom label. Okay. And you can set the style to be whatever color you want. I'm going to set it to be yellow. Okay. Okay. And then finally, what do we need to do? We've got our label, got our box, got our label in the box. So let's go ahead and bp.setBottom of bottom box. All right. Let me count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I don't think I'm missing anybody. I'll take the census there. And now this is going to get kind of repetitive. But that's okay. Ooh. I have 2 E's in set bottom. That's just not going to do. And now, typing is not so good today. All right, hopefully that will be the end of those things. Sorry about that. But if you want to see these things live, that's the way it goes. Okay, let's go ahead and run it. Whee! There's my bottom. Okay, so this thing is great for menus. This is probably good for things like a status bar. You know, if you're going to show a file that you're working on, yeah, you probably show it in the title bar. That's what I usually put the name of the application, a colon, and then I put the absolute path, the title in the title bar. I don't like just seeing the name of the file. I want to know where I am. Okay, so now we've got that. So let's go to work on the other pieces. Okay, so it's got a top and it's got a bottom. Okay, now it's going to have a left and a right. In fact, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pilfer using good old visual mode. I'm going to say install the sinister side. Okay, bottom changes to left. This changes to left as well. Okay. Okay, now we need to set left. Okay, there seems to be no more further evidence of bottom. Oops, I just ran it without doing the compilation step. That's kind of important. Let's compile. Ooh, look how pretty. Oh, now we're going to run it. Ooh, left. Oh, I left a yellow in there. Let's change that color. Etc. 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 I've decided I will be the king of cyan. I want that. Oh yeah. There we go. Do a little honor to Yul Brenner there. All right. And now we're going to install the right-hand side. Okay. For you Latin scholars out there, that's the dexterous side. Actually, I'm left-handed. All right. So I'm just going to go in here and go S. Yeah. All right. And let's go ahead and find the rest of these guys here. Right here. Right box. That's good. Right box. Right label. Right box. Set right. All right. So there we go. Compile. Run. Right. Now I left that color as cyan. I'll change it to magenta just to give us a little variety. And we have one more element to conquer. All right. And this will be magenta. Let's change it to that. Okay, now we're ready for the center. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of right and put center in. Notice I'm a Vim user. Now I'm going to go ahead and say center in here. Okay, the center is interesting, by the way. Okay, so that's fine. Do I need to do anything with the alignment? I just said center. Okay, we'll leave it. Okay. And I need to say set center here. And let's see if I get any grief or if I've done everything correctly. And this is going to be the center. Yeah, it's a crunchy outside with a chewy center. So let's go ahead and compile this. Oh, somebody's demanding my attention there. That's just not going to happen right now. Oh, right, and let's make the center a different color. We'll make it green, because right now it's blending into that other thing. Let me Control C that. And we'll go and find this and make it green, because we want a different color so we see it. Okay. Okay. Hey, why is my... Ooh. That became unhappy. Let me check. I might have done something wrong. Set. Alright. Oh, I changed that to center. That was no good. Oh, this should be just green. Good grief. How did that happen? I don't know. Let's try it again. Ready, aim, fire. Now, here's a couple things to point out. Again, as I said, the top is a great place for menus. The left and the right, you know, you could put something like a vertical slider in the left or the right if you wanted to. If you omit them, be assured that the center is piggy. And if you only set the center, the border pane will just behave like a, you know, pretty much a blank pane with one thing in it. But it's very common to use this for menus up here. Maybe a status bar down here, but not always. But typically, in a lot of applications, what you'll see is you'll see top and center. And then sometimes you'll see left and right. I would say that's less common. The bottom may be fairly common. You know, you might have a status bar down here that spits out error messages or some other message that's pertinent to the application that's running. But this is the border pane. You'll also notice that within the border pane, I may place other layout managers. I may place, you know, things like H boxes or V boxes inside of these things. And actually, let's see what happens if we change that to a V box. That might be kind of entertaining. Let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead here. I'm going to change that to a V box. All right. And now let's go to left and right. It's going to become a V box. One thing about the V box is getting the children and everything is exactly the same. We'll see what happens here. Probably not a heck of a lot. Oh, good grief. Let me find that on 47. That's what happens when you make an on-the-fly change. All right. And did I do that anywhere else? Yeah, I did. Bad me. Oh, it's happy. Well, at least it compiles. Could still have some form of dyspepsia. Yeah, not a heck of a lot changes. But there you go. It's just if you add other things to these V boxes, this will stack vertically. Whereas if you add something else in here, like a text area or a button, and you should try this. You should take this code and add buttons to the different things and see what all happens. You could even put a grid layout in the center and have a whole grid of buttons. But this is the border layout. It's probably one of the most fundamental layout schemes or panes that exist in JavaFX. So next time, well, this will be a series of videos on different layouts, but I'll discuss the flow layout and the grid layout and maybe one or two others in subsequent recordings.